Hello, trading is closed on July 17th, 2020. Let's go over our calls. We thought Thursday's pattern was very negative. We had this gap down. Early weakness in this pattern should lead to more weakness. We said the failure of the rally to accomplish anything. It didn't clear the highs in a reasonable time frame. Didn't close in the black. We said all that should lead to lower prices, and the only thing that would kill the idea would be if we gapped over these highs, and as luck would have it, that's what happened. Here's what we said. Thought the odds are against it, but I don't think the pattern was really invalidated. I think it was postponed, because today is a copy of what happened yesterday. We had a day-long rally which didn't accomplish anything, because the close was under the early high. Despite gapping up, hitting all these higher highs, we closed under all of them. All we've accomplished so far in a rally for 2 days is to fill the gap. So you had an impulsive drop followed by an overlapping correction here, which hasn't overtaken this. So as far as I'm concerned, it still is a negative pattern. We have targets from MEJT. There's no time limit on the ultimate. But if we don't gap up, we target 32, 22, 52 by Monday's close. It isn't that far under where we close, but I think the odds are we're going to go much lower than this if we don't gap up smartly. We gapped up at the end of 1 hour of trading. We were trading at the low of the day. It's a very negative pattern. Confirmation is trading lower than that in the subsequent 5 minutes, and that happened. When this happens, there's a very high incidence that this low is not going to hold by the end of the day. Well, it did, but Monday's open can substitute for today's close. So if we open Monday by gapping under this low, which I think has a reasonable chance of happening, then everything is behaving itself and going according to plan. In fact, if we gap under this low, it would say the whole 2-day recovery effort was a false move, and if that happened, it would be a harbinger of further declines to come. It hasn't happened yet. During the day, MEJT gave an ultimate sell signal in the morning that worked. So optionally, we trade over this line. We did. It doesn't believe the rally we had in the afternoon. Says the move is false, targets 32, 22, 52, and ultimately we'll see 32, 17, 43, and almost always will go further south of this. Well, we had a channel here. We connect these two highs, draw a parallel channel from the intervening low. And we broke below it. That really should have been it. Instead, we've gone back and forth over the line, which is support resistance, really resistance. And now 2 days of rally hasn't been able to break through the line. So for the last 2 days of rallying all day, we're still stopping at resistance. We also had a reversal bar involving the upper Bollinger Band. We haven't been able to close over this high. It targets a challenge of the lower band. If we close over this high, then it didn't work. But until that happens, we have targets which could be around 200 handles lower than where we are now. Of course, this moves. It won't always be 200 handles lower. At some point, we're looking for wave blue C to begin. We hit a target of 32.6150. I can make a reasonable case that we're going to stop right here short of the target. Well, this is the count that we had. And from last week, we had target of 32.6150. I said other prices might work too. If that's Z, it's hard to explain what's going on with this. So I got out my eraser And we came up with this. B's still where it is. Then we have an AB, then what I'm calling an ending diagonal triangle. You get good Fibonacci relationships. C is almost equal to A. I guess close enough. It is a target of B. This looks like an ending diagonal triangle, and if I'm right, we should start dropping with a target of undercutting the origin, which is, I guess, close to 3,000. What's the low here? 29.99.74. So if this is the right count, we won't know that until Monday. Should be a big drop from here, taking us down over 200 points. Not in a day, of course. And as always, if we gap up, the whole idea is killed. So Monday's pattern has the early high. Typically it's a down day with the low in the final hour, but if you gap up, which isn't precluded, and you rally early, it overrules the typical bearishness of the day. Last week we had a daily reversal, a bar involving the upper Bollinger Band. It's held on a closing basis. It argues for a challenge of the lower band. Yesterday's early weakness should be followed by additional weakness. The 2 days of rallying hasn't accomplished a thing. All they do is to fill the gap. Sentiment indicators are showing excessive optimism. The wave count's compatible with an ending diagonal triangle. Not bullish. If you're a bull, you need to rally early, ideally by gapping over today's high. That would invalidate the negativity of today's trading. If you're a bear, you're hoping for a sizable early drop, ideally gapping under today's low, and really you want to gap under yesterday's low too. All that would happen to get all that you would need then to get confirmation is if follow through Tuesday to seal the top here short of my original target. Bears have dropped the soap a number of times before. We'll see if they do it again. But for right now, if we don't gap up and take out this high, make that gap in either direction and take out this high promptly, we have a slightly lower target based on MEJT, but much lower targets based on other stuff. And all we need to do to make him happen is to gap and take out these lows promptly. But even if we don't, that's my call for Monday. These targets won't go away, and they could be seen if we get this gap. And if we don't, we'll just have to see what happens. And that's today's call.